It's my patent signature mixing technique. A lot of people know quality of mixing depends on the sources a lot, not only on your mixing skills. But a lot of people think it's about good sources or bad sources. It's not like that. I crafted a system which kind of allow you to make sure your sources go along with some special audio characteristics, and only then those sources can be mixed properly to the best level. This mixing technique will blow your mind, check it out. It's one of the best audio mixing courses. It was my primary job for the last 12 years, and I crafted this course like crazy. Read the first pinned comment or the description to understand how my teaching system works, how to buy this full lesson number 5 or any other lesson, and for more details. Free videos are very useful, but random mixing tips. Buying full lessons is 100% instead of 10% of all topics. We bust all the myths, all misleading information you commonly get from the other sources, so you will save at least 10 years. Now I'm gonna give you the craziest, the most important rule behind the system. Only one instrument in one cell. It will create huge protests from your side. Be ready for it. Be open-minded. Try to hold your protest for a second until you understand the system. You will be amazed how well it works. Before we continue with the system, I'm gonna give you very straightforward explanation why. Again, it's just only for the perfect world. If you can do whatever you want. You can put 3,000 instruments in the same octave, in the same tessiture, in the same cell. You can play, you're gonna get complete sound mess. It still may sound good for you. You can say, yeah, I like it. Why not? I don't put a gun to your head to use the system. But if you want like absolutely perfection in your clarity, definition, you really have to use the system. Let's write some piece of music. Let's do it. It will be super primitive. It's just for example. So we're gonna put one instrument. It will be hive instrument. Let's say this instrument will play something. It's our first instrument. So this instrument basically occupies this line. It occupies both sides because we hear from both speakers this instrument, from the left and from the right. So unfortunately, it's not only occupying one cell, actually it's occupying even 2 cells. And according to our rule, you already cannot put any other instrument to the same cell. You're gonna write the second instrument in a second, but you have to choose the other tessiture. You should move it from the line 3 to the line 2, for example. You can protest, you can say, no, I don't like it, I want to put an instrument exactly in the same line. I'm not talking about instruments which play the same pattern. I'm talking about completely other instrument which would play something else. So you have to move it down in the octave. You protest, you say, no, I'm not gonna do it, I want the same octave, I like the tone of the other synthesizer, I'm gonna put it exactly in the same octave. Okay, let's try. I'm gonna protest as well, I'm gonna say, no, I don't like it, I'm gonna put an instrument exactly in the same space. So I put some other synthesizer, so I choose some completely different tone, let's say. As you can see, it sounds completely different. If previous one sounded more like pew 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 with some like siren on it, you know, and this one has more like trumpet sort of quality, right? It has deeper low end, it has more silky highs and stuff. We're gonna draw completely different music pattern, still in C minor. For example, we go. As you can see, it's completely different pattern. It's not C note in the C minor. First instrument had C note, but then E flat, then it had F. This one has different pattern, and even rhythmically it's different. As you can see, this note is shifted from this like upbeat position. So it has C note, then it has B flat, octave down. So now, if I play these 2 instruments together, it will be complete mess, because they still play in the same frequency area, around C3 note, in this basically octave called C3. This instrument here and this instrument here. Listen to this mess. It sounds just like one instrument. Clearly you don't hear the difference in tone between first instrument and the second. You cannot isolate this more like siren sound versus this like more like trumpet sound. It sounds almost like identical. They overlap in each other and they don't sound clear. If you measure this effect with frequency analyzer, even frequency analyzer proves my point. Check it out. So this is frequency response of the first instrument. As you can see, it has a lot of harmonics. This is the second instrument. I'm gonna zoom in a bit frequency response so you can see what I'm talking about. So as you can see, this is the low end of this instrument, like its fundamental plays. Unfortunately, it all goes to white instrument. You literally don't hear a green instrument at all. Yes, one overtone over here due to just one wrong played note, not the same note played by the green instrument. This one cut through the mix. At least you can say at least something about green instrument by your ears. But unfortunately, most of details coming just from white instrument. It has this frequency occupied, green is masked, this goes for white, green is masked, this goes for white, green is masked, white, green is masked, pretty equal, not sure what you're gonna hear at this overtone, still white. Over here you have at least one green overtone, but with the sacrificing of the white instrument overtone at the same frequency. So you either have just one instrument all over the place, or sometimes you have the other instrument, but like it's a game who more important. You sacrifice one instrument and placing white above. It's actually not as clear definition for your ears. It's like multiple masking effects all over the place. Again, green instrument also has its own masking effect for the white instrument. For example, it's going on all over the place in the upper, mid-range and highs. Starting from 6K, as you can see, they stay at the same frequencies. They don't have their own unique frequencies. Each instrument has exactly the same frequency as the other instrument, because we didn't use AZ arranger rules over here. So in this case, green mask white at the same frequency. This frequency, as you can see, 8.6K goes for green, white is masked. This frequency, 8.77, goes for green, white is masked at the same frequency, and so on and so on. They have, as you can see, exactly the same frequencies, and one instrument just literally has to sacrifice itself for the sake of hearing the other instrument. Now let's do the same thing, but let's use AZ arranger rules where we're gonna place these instruments in the other octaves. It will be unbelievably clear sound and amazing even from mathematics point of view. Check it out. I literally take one of these two instruments, let's say this one, and I put it one octave down. Listen to these two. Before it was sounding just one instrument. You don't hear any definition, any details of each instrument out of two. In this case, one siren is above, brass, low brass, like trombone right now in the bottom end. You know what I mean? It will be much clearer and much easier to mix eventually. You can say, but we can use some equalizer. Equalizer will not help you at all. Equalizer only can, again, rebalance what you sacrifice. For example, by using equalizers, you can make, in the first case, when both instruments in the same octave, by equalizer, you can just raise up green against white, or white against green. That's it. You're still gonna have the same masking effect. All those overtones stay at the same frequencies with equalizer. Equalizer only changing their volumes. So you basically take, let's say, this, and you make, let's say, green louder than white. This is how equalizer works. It doesn't place instruments in other frequencies. It only rebalances volumes of those overtones which already exist in your instrument. So equalizer is not as reliable as you think. So what we did, we put a second instrument down one octave only, one octave down. So according to our picture, first instrument was here, and we placed second instrument also here. They created masking effect in the left cell and in the right cell, so this is why it's a problem. Now what we're gonna do, we take second instrument and we place it one octave down. We put it at the other tessiture, at the other altitude. It occupies line number 2. First instrument stays at the line number 3, so you have clarity, 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 clarity. By mathematics, by measurement, it will show you exactly the same thing. Let me show you. So I'm gonna remeasure white instrument as it was second instrument, and we put it one octave down. Check it out. And oh my god, it's just amazing. Look at the picture. White instrument has its own overtone now. Instead of just white always above green, white has its own frequencies right now. This one. As you can see, under this point, there is no green peak. This one, no green peak underneath. This one, no underneath any peak. This one, no green, white, no green. This white, no green, white, no green, white, no green, white, no green. You can continue. You can see these options where you see white overtones without any influence of a green overtones all over the place at all frequency areas, from lows, mids, and highs. So this is, let's say, mid range. As you can see, white, no green, white, no green, white, no green, white, no competitor, white, no competitor, white, no competitor, white, no competitor. So you can say, I can hear white instrument. This is high frequencies, upper mid range and high frequencies. Check it out. Unbelievable. You go to 4K, 5K, whites. This is 5.5. Check it out. White, no green, white, no green. At the same time goes for the other instrument, for green. Sometimes you have green, no white. Sometimes you have just green dominating over white. But white still has its own overtone nearby. Example. For your ears, it will be more like, green, white, green, white, green, white. So your ear easily can recognize, let's say around upper mid-range, it will not be a problem to hear clarity, definition, and details of the green instrument around 5K. And definition, details, and clarity of the white instrument around 5K. So you can, even without mixing, even before you start mixing, you already get definition of each instrument, and they already separated from each other. You don't need to fight with equalizer trying to do something with it. It already sounds like it should be. It's a natural mixing. What about, let's say, 600? Green, white, white, green, 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 white, white, green, white, white, green. Nice, right? So around 600, 700 and 800, you have plenty of information about green instrument overtones and plenty of overtones coming from white instrument. And I recommend, as a mixer, you don't produce anything. You mix and try to balance music of other people. But you still can draw this skeleton of the system, which is on the screen right now, like this, on the piece of paper, listen to the instruments, write down where each instrument stays, and it will give you at least an idea how to pan the instruments. Even if you have, let's say, a fight between two instruments, let's say on the line 3, you still can take one synthesizer, place it to the left, other synthesizer, place it to the right. Yes, it will be a bit narrower, a bit more side sounding synthesizers, but you will fix frequency conflicts. But if you just have already, or you a producer, and you have opportunity to place instruments not in the same octave, using AZ arranger rule system, you would put one synthesizer here and second synthesizer here. You don't need to even pan them to the left, to the right, making them narrow and on size. You still allow yourself to have synthesizer 1 as wide as possible, synthesizer 2 stereo as wide as possible, so you don't even pan them to the left and to the right. They will be looking like this. The equalizer is happy as I am, you know what I mean? We can put some drums. Now I put the first synthesizer down and I kind of reversed the movement for the second synthesizer. I put it back up. So now second synthesizer sounds more like higher, but lower synthesizer still has high harmonics, but lower tessiture. So it sounds like gigantic grasshopper. Again, it sounds stupid, but it's just for example how instruments can be clarified. Now I specifically put myself in complicated conditions by choosing very similar synthesizers with very similar tone from the same synthesizer called Hive. You know what I mean? The more different tone you get, the more different instruments. If you get trombone and vocal, they will be completely different sounding, you know. If you get this synthesizer and this synthesizer, it's so close that even dividing them in different octaves doesn't give you gigantic effect, but it's enough to get great clarity in the mix. Now I hear your protest. You say, oh my god, so what I'm gonna do? I don't want it. I want many instruments. So what I can do in my music? Just 2 instruments only, like bass on the bottom. And I will tell you, no, you actually absolutely have no problem. I'm gonna give you right now so many tricks how to use the system so you can put actually up to 8 at the same time sounding instruments. I'm sure you're not as creative to make 8 different sounding instruments, different playing instruments at the same time. Imagine, I don't mean you have layered instrument where 3 synthesizers play the same lead pattern. I mean, one instrument goes like 2 chords, other instrument goes arpeggio 2, third instrument go melody 2, fourth instrument goes like something I already mentioned 4, but I already lost my creative ideas how I would even create 5th instrument. But I promise you that with this system you can have 8 limitations in the first place. Actually, it's a good thing. It allows you to really make sure your instruments far away from each other. You really make sure you get great clarity. But even with this great clarity, you have multiple ways around. Other 70% information of this system, unfortunately, I have to put only for payable lesson, because payable lessons is 100 minutes. Free lesson is just 10-15 minutes. So I strongly recommend you to buy this full lesson. You will be amazed, and in the second half of this full lesson, it will be amazing parts on studio setup, how to choose levels of monitors, 3 different situations, when to use them loud, when to use them medium, and when to use them low. I also will explain Fletcher-Manson effect. How to buy full lessons you can read in the first pinned comment or in the description. And for more details.